So the 96th Annual Academy Awards are happening this Sunday, March 10th. I thought I would make a video going over the nominations and kind of predicting what I think will win, and also kind of giving you my thoughts on what I personally would have picked. And yeah, just kind of go through the nominations and talk about them. I always love Oscar weekends. I always look forward to it, and you know, me and my family and friends, we do some ballots, so you can get the best score, stuff like that. It's all good fun, and you never know what is going to happen at the Oscars, as we've seen over the years. Maybe they announce the wrong Best Picture winner. That was a classic. But yeah, I'm just going to go through the nominations, and we're going to start with actor in a leading role. I'm just going through the order that the Academy has it listed on their website, and so we'll go down in order. I'm mostly only going to hit the major categories in terms of what I would personally predict. I finally got around to watching all 10 Best Picture nominees for this year, which I'm really excited about, just in time for the Oscars, which are happening in just a couple days from when I'm recording this. And yeah, I haven't seen everything else in terms of some of the other awards, you know, like short film and documentary. Unfortunately, I didn't get around to those this year. I try to watch as much as I can, but time is limited, and it's hard to get to everything. But I did watch all 10 Best Picture nominees, so I will definitely be going through those. But let's start right at the top here. Actor in a leading role. Our 5 nominations this year are Bradley Cooper in Maestro, Coleman Domingo in Rustin, Paul Giamatti in The Holdovers, Cillian Murphy in Oppenheimer, and Jeffrey Wright in American Fiction. Now, I loved all these performances. They were all great. If I had to pick one that I personally would pick to win this year, I would go with Cillian Murphy. I loved Oppenheimer, and it's very close for me though. This is actually a tough decision for me, because I could give it either way to Cillian Murphy or Paul Giamatti, honestly. The Holdovers was one of my favorite films this last year as well, and Paul Giamatti just gave an all-time great performance in that. My official prediction on what I think will win is I'm going with Cillian Murphy. I think it's his time. You know, he's given some of my favorite performances over the last 20-30 years, and I'm just really excited for him. I'm excited for him to finally get the recognition I think he deserves, and you know, get this leading man role in a Christopher Nolan movie, which is awesome considering he's been you know, his boy for so long and been a supporting actor in most of his movies. But yeah, rooting for Cillian. Would be totally happy with Paul Giamatti as well. And I think it's between those two. But my official prediction is Cillian, and who I'd want to win is Cillian Murphy. So that is the actor in a leading role category. Let's move on to what we have next, which looks like actor in a supporting role. We have Sterling K. Brown in American Fiction, Robert De Niro in Killers of the Flower Moon, Robert Downey Jr. in Oppenheimer, Ryan Gosling in Barbie, and Mark Ruffalo in Poor Things. This is another great category. I mean, I'm going to be saying that a lot as we go through all these, but I truly do believe this is a really stacked year for a lot of the nominees, and I think that especially just in the Best Picture nominations, I think they're all very deserving. Yeah, so looking at this list, we have Robert Downey Jr., who is the clear favorite to take the award, and deservedly so. Robert Downey Jr. did amazing in Oppenheimer. He is fantastic. It's great to see him kind of giving some performances outside the MCU, and it's great to have him kind of back in more of a drama style role. And you know, he did great in it, and he's my prediction to win, and that's not saying much. He's the clear favorite. He's won most of the other awards for this category. But if I personally was picking this year, I think I might give it to Mark Ruffalo in Poor Things. Mark Ruffalo was the biggest surprise for me in a performance this year. His character in Poor Things is just absolutely ridiculous, and I think he leaned into the role way more than I've ever seen him lean into a role. And he's given some great performances over the years, obviously, but it was great to see him be able to kind of play this eccentric, kind of despicable character in Poor Things. And he really gave it his all, and his just some of his line deliveries are so good. So I would personally pick Mark Ruffalo, but Robert Downey Jr. is neck and neck, honestly. And I'd be happy with either of them winning. But my prediction is Robert Downey Jr. I think he has this category pretty much locked in. Going to our next category, we have actress in a leading role. This one we have Annette Bening in Nyad. We have Lily Gladstone in Killers of the Flower Moon. Sandra Huller in Anatomy of a Fall. Carey Mulligan in Maestro, and Emma Stone in Poor Things. This one, if you've been following the awards season, it's pretty neck and neck between Lily Gladstone and Emma Stone, from what it seems like. Emma Stone was starting to pull away for a while with the awards, but then Lily Gladstone, I believe, won the SAG award. Yeah, this one could go either way. I think this is one of the most exciting categories of the night, purely because I just don't think it's a lock for anyone. I do think the front runners are obviously Lily Gladstone and Emma Stone. This one's tough. If I had to pick one myself, I think I would go with Emma Stone. I know it's a little boring, I guess you could say, just because she's already won, and she's obviously an amazing actress. We've seen her on that stage before, and I actually do think it's her best role I've ever seen her in. Once again, she's given some amazing performances. I think she won in La La Land, and she was amazing in that, obviously. But yeah, I think Poor Things is her best performance she's ever given. So if she does win it, I do think it's deserved. But let's be honest, it would be more exciting to see Lily Gladstone win, you know, a first-time nominee, first-time winner. I just think that would be an awesome story and something a little different to look forward to. Lily Gladstone is who I'm kind of rooting for. I think Emma Stone is going to win. Emma Stone would probably be my personal pick too, but in terms of who I'm rooting for, I'm actually rooting for Lily Gladstone. I just think that would be cool. Let's move on to our next category, actress in a supporting role. For this, we have Emily Blunt in Oppenheimer, Danielle Brooks in The Color Purple, America Ferrara in Barbie, Jodie Foster in Nyad, and Davine Joy Randolph in The Holdovers. Also, apologies in advance if I pronounce any of these names wrong. Some of them I don't think I've ever actually heard said aloud, and so some of these I'm just reading, and I may be making mistakes with the pronunciation. So apologies in advance for that. Doing my best regarding pronunciation. But as far as actress in a supporting role, this one is all but locked. From what it seems like, this category would probably be one of the biggest shockers if Davine Joy Randolph did not win. She's won basically every other award this award season for this role, and it was an amazing performance. And she's who I would pick personally as well. She's who I would want to win in this category, you know, and she's obviously my prediction as well of who's going to win this category. All these other performances were great as well. Nothing against them, but Davine Joy Randolph, I think, has this one in the bag. Let's move on to our next category. We have animated feature film. This one's exciting. We have The Boy and the Heron, Elemental, Nimona, Robot Dreams, and Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse. So for this category, I saw 3 of these. I saw The Boy and the Heron, Elemental, and Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse. I did not see Nimona or Robot Dreams. But based on what I've seen, and also just from what I've kind of heard from people, I really do think it's going to be between The Boy and the Heron and Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse. If I was picking, I would pick Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse. I loved that movie. I thought it was a great follow-up to Into the Spider-Verse. And, you know, I'm obviously excited for the 3rd entry in that series. If you've seen Across the Spider-Verse, it does end on a cliffhanger. And I wonder if that might kind of hurt its chances at actually winning. That's why it's really tough for me to actually decide what I'm picking as my official prediction, because, like I said, I think it's between Boy and the Heron and Spider-Man. I think my prediction is going to be The Boy and the Heron. Miyazaki is, an all-timer, and I think he's going to get it with this one, with Boy and the Heron. It was very well received. I think it was the highest grossing Miyazaki Studio Ghibli film ever, at least in the US domestically, which is awesome. So I think Boy and the Heron is going to get its flowers, but I would not be surprised to see Spider-Man take it as well. I'd be happy with either, honestly, but I would be rooting for Spider-Man personally. Let's go to our next category. We have cinematography. So for cinematography, we have El Conde, Killers of the Flower Moon, Maestro, Oppenheimer, and Poor Things nominated. If I had to pick, my personal pick for this category would be Oppenheimer. Hoyt van Hoytema, which I think is how you pronounce it. Apologies once again if I have that wrong. He's just absolutely amazing. He is so great at what he does. He's DP'd some of my favorite movies, and he's basically done all of the biggest Christopher Nolan films. And my official prediction would also be Oppenheimer. I think it has a pretty good chance at taking this category. We're getting to this. We're getting to the point where I think there's honestly a chance that Oppenheimer could start to sweep. I think there's a chance we're going to be watching Sunday where we get to the point where it's like all the technical categories, Oppenheimer's just winning and winning and winning. For the sake of keeping it interesting, we kind of maybe hope that doesn't happen, only because it gets a little repetitive. But for the sake of the movie, which I adored in Oppenheimer, I think it would be 100% deserving if it did start to sweep, if it did start to take just all these categories. I would be very happy for Christopher Nolan and his team, because I just think they did an amazing job with that film. We go into costume design. We have Barbie, Killers of the Flower Moon, Napoleon, Oppenheimer, and Poor Things. Now, this one I could see going multiple ways, but I do think that Poor Things will take it. It's going to end up being between either Poor Things or maybe Barbie. I have this feeling that Barbie might get shut out for the most part for most of its nominations, except for Best Original Song. I think it has that one pretty much locked up, especially because it has 2 nominations in that category. I think Poor Things is going to take this one. If I had to pick one in this category, I would probably go with Poor Things as well. I loved just the zaniness of how everything looked in that world, and these costumes these characters were wearing were incredibly unique. Stuff I had never really seen before, and so shout out to that costume team. And let's now move on to what is next, and this is a big one, because next up we have directing. For the directing category, we have Anatomy of a Fall, directed by Justine Triet, Killers of the Flower Moon by Martin Scorsese, Oppenheimer, Christopher Nolan, Poor Things, Yorgos Lanthimos, and The Zone of Interest, Jonathan Glazer. My prediction for this category is Christopher Nolan. I think it's a pretty safe bet as well at this point. I think he's won most of the major awards for it, and it's 100% deserving. It's time for Christopher Nolan to get his flowers. He has not won an Oscar to this point in his career, which to me seems pretty crazy considering he's made, in my opinion, some of the best movies of all time, and some of my favorite movies of all time as well. And this has been kind of his seminal picture. And so I think it would be very fitting for him to get the Best Directing award for this. And that's who I'm rooting for as well. That's my hope. I hope Christopher Nolan finally gets his time to shine on the Oscar stage. Now we go to documentary feature film. We have Bobby Wine, The People's President, The Eternal Memory, Four Daughters, To Kill a Tiger, and 20 Days in Mariupol. Like I said at the beginning of this, I didn't have a chance to get to the documentaries or the short films this year. From everything I've heard, 20 Days in Mariupol was really good and is a good pick, and so I'm going to go with that. Let's move on to the next category. We have documentary short film. This is the same situation for me, but we have the ABCs of Book Banning, The Barber of Little Rock, Island in Between, The Last Repair Shop, and Nai Nai and Waipo. Once again, kind of going off of just word of mouth on this one, my official prediction would be the ABCs of book banning, but I haven't seen any of these, unfortunately. Now we go to film editing, and for the nominees on this, we have Anatomy of a Fall, The Holdovers, Killers of the Flower Moon, Oppenheimer, and Poor Things. My official prediction on this is Oppenheimer, and that's who I would vote for as well. I know it might be getting kind of boring or redundant, kind of hearing the same pick with Oppenheimer on a lot of these, but I think it's deserving of most of these categories. And not that any of these other nominees aren't; they all are as well. But if I just had to pick the winner, if I had to pick my favorite, I got to go Oppenheimer on this. Next category, we have International Feature Film. For this category, we have Io Capitano, Perfect Days, Society of the Snow, The Teacher's Lounge, and The Zone of Interest. This one, I believe, will go to The Zone of Interest. I think that's a pretty safe pick. It's also nominated for Best Picture, so that would make sense that it wins the International Feature Film Award, considering none of the others in this category are nominated for Best Picture. My official pick is The Zone of Interest. If I had to pick one in this category, I'd have to go with The Zone of Interest because it's the only one I've seen. So of these, Perfect Days is on my list. That's one I've heard is amazing. In fact, Martin Scorsese said it was one of his favorite movies of the year. So it's like, I got to check that out now that Martin Scorsese said that. But that's playing in theaters right now, I noticed, in my area. So I'm going to check that out soon. And then Society of the Snow I heard was really good too. I believe that one's on Netflix. But Zone of Interest is my official pick for this category. Makeup and hairstyling, we have Golda, Maestro, Oppenheimer, Poor Things, and Society of the Snow. This one I think is a two-way race between either Poor Things or Maestro. And this is where things get difficult. If I personally was picking, I would probably pick Poor Things. There's like the amazing makeup on Willem Dafoe in that movie. Maestro's makeup was amazing as well. And for Bradley Cooper's transformation into Leonard Bernstein looked incredible. But I think Poor Things makeup and hairstyling was more unique, and that's why I would personally pick it. But my official prediction, I think I'm going to go with Maestro. I think this is the category that Maestro wins. And I think it'll probably be its only win for the night. Original score. For this category, we have American Fiction, Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny, Killers of the Flower Moon, Oppenheimer, and Poor Things. This one is easy for me. I'm going Oppenheimer. Ludwig Göransson, I think is how you pronounce it, did absolutely amazing. Some of the best music of this last year. Just absolutely incredible. Definitely my favorite. It's my personal pick as well as my official prediction. Poor Things, I actually really liked how offbeat and strange that score was. And then John Williams is always classic, but gotta go with Oppenheimer for this one. Music original song, we have The Fire Inside, I'm Just Ken, It Never Went Away, Waza Z. I know I'm saying that wrong, more than likely. Apologies. A Song for My People, which is from Killers of the Flower Moon. And then What Was I Made For? This one, I think, will go to What Was I Made For? Billie Eilish from Barbie. In terms of emotion and drama, I think people will gravitate toward that one in terms of voting. I could see a world where I'm Just Ken maybe somehow sneaks in and takes it, but I think What Was I Made For is going to take it, and that would be my personal pick as well. Now we have production design. We have Barbie, Killers of the Flower Moon, Napoleon, Oppenheimer, and Poor Things. Production design, I think, will go to Poor Things. This is, once again, between Barbie and Poor Things, I think. There's a chance, and I would not be surprised at all if Barbie takes this one. But I just have a feeling that Poor Things is going to kind of sneak in and take some of these categories, specifically ones over Barbie. And production design is another one that I think it will sneak in and take. So that would be my official prediction, and that's my personal choice as well out of these. Now we have animated short film. We have Letter to a Pig, 95 Senses, Our Uniform, Pachyderme, probably I'm pronouncing that wrong, and War is Over. Haven't seen any of these. Once again, I got to go with Letter to a Pig. That's just the one I've heard the most about and most buzz for. So going with Letter to a Pig. Live action short film. We have The After, Invincible, Night of Fortune, Red, White, and Blue, and The Wonderful Story of Henry Sugar. This one, I have only seen one, and it is The Wonderful Story of Henry Sugar, which is Wes Anderson. I believe it was on Netflix, and that's the one that I just had access to easily and was able to get around to. And that's what I would pick. That's what I expect to win as well. It's Wes Anderson. People know him. The Academy will recognize his name. I think that's what will end up taking it. Now we go to sound. We have The Creator, Maestro, Mission Impossible Dead Reckoning Part 1, which is funny, is actually changed its title now apparently to just Mission Impossible Dead Reckoning. Oppenheimer, and The Zone of Interest. This one would be between Oppenheimer and The Zone of Interest for me personally. I'm going to give it to Oppenheimer as my personal choice and my prediction to win, which I think it's totally deserving of. Sound plays a very important role in this movie if you've seen it, and it's just absolutely incredible. But The Zone of Interest would be a close second because if you've seen that movie, sound is pretty much, I would argue, possibly the main, most important component in that film. But got to go with Oppenheimer. That's what I expect and what I would want. Now we go to visual effects. We have The Creator, Godzilla Minus One, Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3, Mission Impossible Dead Reckoning Part 1, and Napoleon. This one, I think, will be between Godzilla Minus One and maybe The Creator, but my official prediction is Godzilla Minus One. I think that will be the, one of those heartfelt moments for that team. There was the video going around for when they found out they were nominated for an Oscar. If you haven't seen that, go check it out. It's very, very sweet. And that team just seems very lovable, and I'm excited that they got a nomination. Would not be surprised if they take home that Oscar come Sunday night, and that's who I'm predicting will win. My personal pick would be The Creator. I'm happy with either Creator or Godzilla Minus One, honestly. But The Creator just had this look to it that to me felt so real. Like, I don't know, everything looked so natural. Like, they made the robots in that movie seem perfectly natural next to a live-action human being. So props to that team. That's what I would personally pick. Now we go to writing, adapted screenplay. Our nominees, we have American Fiction, Barbie, Oppenheimer, Poor Things, and The Zone of Interest. This category I would give to Oppenheimer. I know it's getting, once again, a little predictable, but that's what I think will win and what I would personally pick. Now we go to writing original screenplay. For this, we have Anatomy of a Fall, The Holdovers, Maestro, May, December, and Past Lives. This one's one of the tougher ones for me of the night, especially in terms of just what I personally would pick, because I liked all of these screenplays. I have not seen May, December. That's the only one that I haven't personally seen. But out of the other four, I loved all those screenplays. But Past Lives was so good. The Holdovers, so good. And Anatomy of a Fall, so good. So to me personally, it would be between those three, but I would pick The Holdovers as my personal favorites. And I think that's what will win too. That's what I'm going to predict as my official prediction. I think ultimately it's going to be between Anatomy of a Fall and The Holdovers. Honestly, I'm totally happy if either win. They were both fantastic. But The Holdovers would be my personal pick, and I think it's going to be the one to get the award. So that brings us to the final award of the night, Best Picture. We have American Fiction, Anatomy of a Fall, Barbie, The Holdovers, Killers of the Flower Moon, Maestro, Oppenheimer, Past Lives, Poor Things, and The Zone of Interest. Like I mentioned at the beginning of this video, I just barely got time to see all 10 of these, which I was very excited about. After seeing all 10, this was a really stacked, tough year for Best Picture. I really do think all of these movies are deserving of these nominations. And I do think that my official prediction for the winner is Oppenheimer. It's been performing extremely well. amongst the other award shows, and obviously amongst voters and audiences and critics. So I think Oppenheimer takes it, and my personal pick would be Oppenheimer as well. I just adored that movie. It was my favorite movie of 2023. There's honestly, most of these movies I would be totally okay with winning. But Oppenheimer is what I want. Oppenheimer is what I expect. That wraps up my predictions and my thoughts on the Academy Awards this year. Let me know in the comments what you expect to win, what you're rooting for, what you wish would have been nominated, and just your thoughts overall about the Academy Awards. And are you excited? Let me know if you see the video after the Academy Awards. Let me know your score for your ballot. I'm interested to see. I've seen some pretty high scores before. I've never seen a perfect score. I'm sure there has been. Yeah, let me know your thoughts down below, and I appreciate you guys checking out this video, and thanks for watching, and we'll see you guys later. Hey everyone, hope you enjoyed this episode of Tales from the Cinema. I plan to do more content like this, so please consider subscribing, liking, and sharing. And feel free to leave a comment below and following me on social media at Tales from Cinema on Twitter and Tales from the Cinema on Instagram. It would be much appreciated. Thanks for watching everyone, and I'll see you next time.